Adult men who know too much about pirates and specific types of golds and silver just weird me out. Welcome back to the Affaka Show. I felt like that was needed to be said, even though on this show, all we cover is just NFL football. But I watched a TikTok with a guy who's really into it, and it gave me the heebie-jeebies. Not as much as some of these matchups that the heebie-jeebies gave me this week, and there's my segue, you're welcome. At this point of the show, we go ahead and we cover all of the games that were played on the previous Sunday. I might even sprinkle in some Monday Night Football, but not really because I didn't do my notes and I just came from work. Towards the end, we're going to go ahead, update you guys with any types of injuries, and then we even take a little sneak peek at week 3. Who do we like? Because I told myself, Affaka, be a good boy. Don't bet next week. Wait till you can get a better read on the games, and by then I already had 3 units on the games for next week. So what do you want from me? I'm just an excited kid. Plain and simple, I'm a kid in a candy shop, but my arms are going like this, and my candy shop's just whatever sportsbook wants to sponsor this. Starting off with the banger of the weekend, we have Giants 37, Cowboys 40. My God, was there points, and it wasn't really until the fourth quarter that both of these offenses exploded. It was naturally just progressing a good game, points back and forth, but it really just went nuclear in the fourth quarter. And the game was so close to being a tie, which as an Eagles fan and really for how those Commanders fans are feeling, I think they would really appreciate that. This was my public dum-dum pick of the week, and it was the Cowboys to win by 4.5 or more. If they just threw in a touchdown at the end of OT, that would have been cool, but they didn't. So it wasn't cool, and I'm happy that the Cowboys lost, even though I don't like the Giants. So I don't know. Whatever. It's a real Sophie's Choice. I've never seen the movie. The truth is that this game just exposed how bad both secondaries are. Sure, Dak can sling it. That offense is going to be great. Both the secondaries are basically school lunch vegetables where it's, hey, do you want the green beans or the broccoli? And neither are good, but you have to pick a side. Russell Wilson, it was a true resurgence of him. He threw for 450 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. Malik Neighbors is also really cool. Cowboys got CeeDee Lamb going, which was just a natural progression for what we saw because he had to bounce back from the terrible Philadelphia game. And Aubrey, my God, does that guy have a boot? I would love to have him as a kicker with the game on the line. And now I like Jake Elliott. Jake Elliott's playing fantastic this year. However, Aubrey went from selling bricks to just stacking bricks because he knows how to kick a football. Overall, any type this public dum-dum bet loses, I'm going to say, you know what? Probably shouldn't have played that. I don't care. I loved it. I probably would take that as my public dum-dum guy, but again. Seahawks 31, Steelers 17. Aaron Rodgers is old. Mr. Rogers wears a cardigan, and I bought a sweater from Banana Republic. Those are the 3 big recaps of this weekend, besides the fact that Mr. Rogers wears a cardigan. We already knew that. The one Pittsburgh special teams player absolutely messed up and I could say really shifted the momentum and probably ended up costing them the game. Because he basically touched it when it's like within 5 yards and you're not allowed to do that if you don't take it out. And he didn't take it out and someone ran in and just grabbed it and then scored a touchdown. So I don't know. I think you'd rather just have a fumble, have it get punched out of your hand at that point. DK Metcalf revenge game had him for a touchdown. He hit for a touchdown. That was fantastic. So if you guys were following along with the touchdown round robin, 2 out of 3 hit, and we profited. Look, if A.J. Brown just could have caught a ball in the end zone, I'm not going to get started. We'll get there. This game probably could have gone, a couple different ways, but it didn't. So the Seahawks won. Rams 33, Titans 19. Cam Ward looked extremely serviceable, and he did have one of those plays where he just ran all the way there and just hooked it up, left side, scored in the touchdown. That play was sick. Probably should have been a pick 6, but the throw was phenomenal. They got some points on the board. I'm not going to complain about it. Puka Nacua had a fantastic game. And this doesn't shock me that this guy's having a fantastic game because I literally saw him bleed from either his head or his eye last week, and then now he's playing football again. Me, if I get a boo-boo, I cry. If I get a little sniffle, it's bad. And it's bad for everyone involved in my life because I just become an absolute drama queen and complain for the rest of the day, rest of the week. It's bad. But Puka's not that. And he scored a touchdown. Devontae Adams, old. Stafford, old. But Devontae Adams, good. Stafford, good. And they really started clicking in the second half, was able to run up the score on this Titans team. So Cam Ward, he looks good, but he has no serviceable players around him. Calvin Ridley, where are you? I drafted you in a lot of fantasy leagues, so I'll ask you again, where are you? People forget you scored the first touchdown in the first ever animation football game. Where are you now? Either way, this game didn't pay much attention to it. 9 games, then 1 o'clock slate. What do you want? Bills 30, Jets 10. And if you guys want a good laugh, go to my TikTok because some Bills fans are like, oh my God, I couldn't believe you picked the Jets to be within 6.5. What a dumb pair. Blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, stop it. Stop it. Either comment before the game or don't come here after. Oh, but it's the Bills Mafia. I respect the Bills Mafia, and this goes for anyone, by the way. If you want to comment before. That's the only one I respect. I don't respect the, oh, this didn't age well. It's like, what are you doing? Get a life. Get a life. And it's like, oh, really? The Bills beat the Jets? I didn't see that coming. Yeah, of course. I saw that coming. I thought the Jets were going to keep it closer. I was wrong. You never been wrong before, Rodney? But I made the huge mistake of falling in love with the Jets, which never ends well, right? Justin Fields did not have a good day at quarterback. Eventually, he ended up in concussion protocol. But it just felt like this team was dead on arrival. The Bills, Josh Allen, it looked like his nose almost broke for a second, which is scary. But you just toss it off to James Cook, and he's shifty, and he'll just get you a touchdown. It seems like this team is really ready to play, and it's going to be tough to... Overall, though, I would bet the Jets at plus 6.5 again. All the signals were there. Patriots 33, Dolphins 27. This game was just all types of special, and there was a lot of teams involved as well. Well, what happened? Well, Tua actually looked like a serviceable quarterback for a little bit, threw for 2 touchdowns. A-Chain wasn't doing much rushing, but he was able to grab 1 in the end zone. Ramondre Stevenson also did a bit of rushing and eventually got 1 in the end zone as well. Here's the thing, Drake May did have a bad fumble, but this is when the game got spicy. Patriots punted it away. The Dolphins caught it, returned it for a touchdown. Waffle's dad was just going nuts. He was going nuts, and he's thinking, oh my God, this is a year. They just played a really tough week 1 game. Tua's back. McDaniel's back. Then what happened? Go ahead. You kick it off. Patriot, I believe it was Gibson, caught it. Run. And you had Mike Vrabel just, right side by side by him. And let me tell you, there's nothing more powerful than either Campbell or Vrabel running right next to you. Strong men, getting strong men touchdowns, and just completely momentum shift. Waffle's dad was crying on the inside. And then he did one of these, that's just my team. But you know he's just putting on that front, so he's not crying. But deep down inside, Waffle's dad is crying right now. Shout out Jam Fam. In addition, the Dolphins still stink. I did bet Patriots plus 2.5. Auto bet that again, no doubt. Jaguars 27, Bengals 31. At the time of filming, we do know that Joe Burrow is injured, likely out for what I would imagine would be the season. We'll get to that in a second, but hashtag. But now we have Jake Browning, who honestly is a serviceable quarterback. We saw this when Burrow got injured a couple years ago. Jake Browning was able to sign. Again, I'm going to go more in depth into the injury, what the impact would mean, also fantasy in another video. Well, not in another video, later in this video. But he still managed to grind it out and win. Jacksonville Jaguars, what's going on? Liam Cohen and Trevor Lawrence had Trevor Lawrence gave him one of these, shut up, kid, which is never good to give to your coach, but look, that means he cares. We have passion. Trevor Lawrence was not the issue. Liam Cohen is not the issue. However, BTJ is the issue. And it's not one of those issues of like, he needs to step up. He needs to be a leader. It's one of those ones that's just so bad where you're like, all right, we have to take a little time out here. What is going on? Because it's like you're playing a board game and you're just progressing through it, and then all of a sudden you hit one of those chutes or the ladders and it just progresses you all the way back. I didn't play chutes and ladders as a kid. Neither did I play Boggle, but I did frequent Guess Who. And there was a late game decision on, hey, should we kick it on 4th down or should we go ahead and try to go for it? He went for it, didn't convert. I like the call there. I would do that 10 times out of 10. Now, for my spread, I would have preferred that didn't happen. I was kind of rooting for the field goal just to make sure that I can get that auto cover, but I didn't hate it. Overall, the bet was a loss, but I would take it at 3.5 again. 49ers 26. The Saints 21. I didn't write out any notes for this game. I don't care. That's your review. Browns 17. Ravens 41. Joe Flacco might officially be old, and I think I have to announce that to the world. There's just some point where it's like, hey, if you're playing football, you can't move around that well. The defense can take advantage of that, and it gets scary. The offense could not get anything moving whatsoever. Dylan Gabriel threw a touchdown in garbage time. I guess that's just nice to see someone get in the end zone like that. Baltimore Ravens, on the other hand, Lamar Jackson absolutely passed on them, steamrolled them. However, Derrick Henry, quite day. 11 attempts for 23 yards. Is it time to sound the alarm on Derrick Henry? Answer, no. The answer is no. You don't sound the alarm on him. The Cleveland Browns run defense is terrifying. Myles Garrett is terrifying. I could probably rush for 100 yards on him, but look, I'm not Derrick Henry. I'm probably better than him. We've never seen me play in the NFL, so we can't say for sure. Ravens do still look like the real deal right now, and I think the Browns kind of got the bad end of the stick after the beating that the Ravens got delivered courtesy of the Bills on that Sunday Night Football game. Overall, I took the Browns at plus 12.5. I wouldn't do that again. There was no indication that that should have been a good bet whatsoever. Bears 21, Lions 52. That's a 50 burger. That's what they call it in the business, is that this is a 50 burger. Caleb Williams, he didn't look all that terrible. Honestly, it just all looked so bad. And anytime a opposing team scores 52 on you, as a quarterback, you should not be reasonably thought of, oh, it should be a shootout. He should get 52 as well. No, that's insane for your defense to let up that much, which is sounding the alarm. I spent all day trying to talk myself out of the Lions minus 6.5. Thank God I listened to my gut, because we needed a winner on today desperately. Well, wait until we get to the afternoon slate. Dan Campbell wasn't thrilled that Ben Johnson left. I mean, sure, I'm sure he was happy for him and stuff, but you got to believe that Dan missed him a little bit. So it was kind of a Dan Campbell revenge game as well as a Ben Johnson revenge game. However, the Lions, they're making the necessary steps to look legit again. It's going to be interesting to see how they hold up pass rush against the Baltimore Ravens. If their line is even just serviceable, they could be juggernauts again. Overall, gut was right, taking the minus 6. Broncos 28, Colts 29, and the real MVP of this game is the Colts mascot. His real name is Blue, and that just also happens to be my favorite flavor of food. Coolest nickname in the NFL right now is Indiana Jones. If you were a Giants fan and you're seeing what Indiana Jones is doing right now, you should feel bad. You should feel bad. Also, doesn't feel great to be Anthony Richardson right now in this spot. Former Gator, shout out you, but you shouldn't feel good. Neither, because he is lighting it up. The vibe is just right. Denver's defense looked okay. Some parts were clunky. I think Surtain got injured. I don't know if he got back in the game or not. I should check on that. If you're the Denver Broncos and you spent all this draft capital getting RJ Harvey, why aren't you using him? Because he is more explosive than me. Whenever I'm playing Operation, I accidentally press this side thing, I make the go, ugh, and it buzzes, and I flip out, and then I quit the board game because I get upset because I'm not good at Operation. Thank God I'm not a surgeon. Again, firing on all cylinders, they were able to get this thing down to a field goal. You go ahead and you kick it, and it missed. And then Bluey, the mascot, falls down. Legendary by the mascot. Second attempt, you get it. Why? Because Denver committed a foul. How do you commit a foul with a field goal from like 60 plus yards? I don't know. They set up, Colts kick it, game winner. I had the Colts at plus 2.5. It's weird that it was going to come down to 2 points, but the sports books just know. Panthers 22, Cardinals 27. Not much to write about this other than the fact that I don't think the Cardinals are very good, and I don't think they're going to be able to close games out. So it might not be bad to bet dogs against them moving forward. Gut check, I wanted to do the Panthers. However, I didn't see any signals and wasn't just ballsy enough to do it. So that happens. Overall, not taking any more time for this game. Eagles 20, Chiefs 17. In this game was not a thriller at all, but it was a W for the Eagles. They came in as 1.5 point favorites, came down to a field goal, felt exciting, felt nostalgic at first, and then just absolutely just calmed down and no one really cared. The Chiefs, they don't have anyone to throw to. I mean, you saw Hollywood Brown get injured, and I think Patrick Mahomes was just like, oh my God, like literally we're going to have to grab someone out of the stands because they have no one. He kept throwing the ball maybe like a couple yards further than where his receiver was, and that's probably just because he's used to Xavier Worthy and Rasheed Rice just being so fast. Travis Kelce, still aging, Is he still producing? Probably not. He had a touchdown in the end zone where he grabbed it and basically handed it to an Eagles defender. Eagles defender grabbed it, and that was really the momentum swing in this game. Once they're back healthy, though, the Chiefs, they would have outplayed the Eagles. There's not a doubt in my mind, I love the Eagles, that if the Chiefs had their receivers, they would have ended up winning that game because there is something broken with the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't know what it is. Whenever Jalen Hurts gets a new offensive coordinator, they just act like he can't throw the ball. In years past, we saw this with, hey, Jalen, just throw a screen, and then they started running the ball with Saquon. This year, it's like, hey, let's run it with Saquon on every single first down. I'll be the first to tell you, that's not a good plan because they're going to stack the box. We saw how bad he did on first down the previous game, and he didn't do that great on first down this game. Sure, he had a couple explosive, oh my God, how did you do that, Saquon runs? But why don't we throw it to, I don't know, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith? Because they're not doing anything right now. You're going to play a game with a good run defense like the Browns, and they're going to end up beating us. We have not practiced throwing the ball at all. Maybe we should. Eagles, they did win that game. You know, a post-game highlight that I saw that clip going around, Chris Jones being like, you only have 100 yards passing, and then Jalen Hurts being like, yeah, but we won the game. So that's my sentiment. Stunk, Eagles did win. I bet them at -1.5. I would do it again. Falcons 22, Vikings 7. J.J. McCarthy got hurt, and it seems like it's a Carson Wentz experiment now. Overall, my read on this game was, should have been a lot more points from the Falcons. They had 22, but they were in the red zone 3 different times and didn't convert that into touchdowns. So either that just means, hey, we're very good at just moving the ball down the field and we can't score in the red zone, or Vikings defense in the red zone is fantastic. I'm hoping it's the fact that the Atlanta can really get this thing together and moving forward so that they can get touchdowns, because if they're fun, that's going to be a fun division to just watch out. Well, not really, but it'll be great to see the rematch against the Bucs, you can say. Minnesota, again, J.J. McCarthy's out. Their defense was good. They'll be able to keep into some games here, but the division's just too tough to do something with Green Bay and the Lions there. I don't believe they're going to have the same success as they had last year. They won too many one-score games. At this point in the show, I'm tired of talking. Texans, Buccaneers. Texans look absolutely horrible on offense. I knew at the end that the Buccaneers were going to drive, and I bet on the Texans. Probably shouldn't have. There's no signs there, but I really wanted action. Speaking of wanting action, shouldn't have bet, but did bet. Raiders, Chargers, I bet the over and the Raiders at a live line of +6.5 because I tailed one of my buddies. That went bad. We went down 3 units on Monday. Sad, 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 sad. Top storylines of the week. He was serviceable when he was their quarterback a couple seasons ago, so there you go. I don't know. Bengals season, yeah, it's done. It's done. Eckler is out, so for fantasy owners, this means that Bill is going to have a much, much bigger role in this team than originally anticipated. Jaden Daniels is out as well, so it's not looking good. Look ahead games that are going to be fun, or that I might have accidentally already bet on, even though I told myself I wasn't going to, is Saints, Seahawks, both teams with the letter S. However, with the Seahawks, I don't care against the Saints. Like Spencer Rattler is, 1-8 against the spread now? I'm going to keep hitting that number. Chiefs, Giants. Chiefs are 0-2. They're going to have to be 1-2 after this, plain and simple. Last game, going to be the good games. Lions versus Ravens. I think that's Monday night or it's Sunday night. I don't really know. But here's what I do know. If you really diagnose Cat in the Hat, there's a lesson there. And that lesson for me is not to tell you. That's for you to figure out in your own life journey. Thank you for watching the Affaka Show. As always, like and subscribe because I'm desperate.